Hey, it's Andrew with Gamer's Guide to Life, and I'm sorry. It's pretty intimidating to be standing here right now. This is the Aliens Colonial Marines booth. I'm here with Brian Burleson of Gearbox, producer on the game. Sir, it's great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to talk to you.
So, why don't you, for our viewers, talk a little bit about just the game in general?
Right. So, Aliens Colonial Marines is a first-person shooter based in the Aliens universe. Now, we're actually a canonical sequel to the films, and so like that's huge. Like, imagine like the sequel to, Aliens is a video game. That's amazing. So we're doing that. We're actually
to the first film, or which film?
Aliens, right? So chronologically, we happened after Alien 3. So Newt and Ripley and all that happened, right?
Right.
But we're the successor to Aliens, and so you have Marines with like the pulse rifles and the smart guns and the motion trackers, and you get that experience, that fantasy, that thing when you saw it as a kid. When you saw Aliens, you get to live that. You actually get to play it, and we're so excited to actually be able to entertain people and show people what we're working on.
Yeah, well, it's pretty interesting because, as we all know, the rumors circulating that it was going to be canceled, and just to see it here, to actually get hands-on time with it and play this game, it just shows you how incredible you really have done. You guys are really passionate about your project. Speaking with the developers over there, I'd say that one of the coolest things that you guys are doing, besides really representing Aliens right down to the boots on the Marines, you've got weight behind everything. The weapons, as you were describing,
right.
Playing the Versus demo against some of the developers as the aliens themselves.
Yeah.
You try to bring the atmosphere back from it. Can you maybe talk a bit about like the environments and sort of the atmosphere you really injected into this game?
Yeah, certainly. So here at E3 we were showing some team deathmatch, and the team deathmatch is a good sense of how visceral and how actually as a Marine, how scary it is to walk around, because if you're playing and a Xeno gets close to you, you will die really quickly. And so you need to be really careful and work with your squad. You need to actually stick together. And so like a squad of Colonial Marines, you need to work like a squad of Colonial Marines, because the Xenos are ruthless. Like, they'll hide in the darkness, they'll lurk around corners, they'll go between the walls, under the floor, and if they get close to you, you're gonna die. So what you really need to do is keep them away. You want to actually get some range on them, and you want to you really want to really be a Marine. The best way to play this is to think like a Marine. And if you play as the Xenomorphs, the best way to win as the Xenomorphs is to think like a Xenomorph. If a Marine is straggling behind, like he's not with the group, that's an easy kill. Like, seriously, you can just get up, sneak behind a corner, just wait for him, and you can just totally tail stab him or rip his head off. You can do whatever you want. But that's kind of like the fantasy of being a Xenomorph, is to actually be able to lurk around the corners and be that scary monster that is so iconic in this world. And we also have some other Xeno types, and so another type that we have here is the Crusher. And the Crusher, gameplay-wise, is really fun when you get to play as him. And so the Xenos have team strategy as well. Like, if you're by yourself as a Xenomorph and you run into a squad of Marines, you're gonna die, right? So you want to actually have some coordination. So one of the great things about the Lurker, the Crusher, is that you can actually so you get the Crusher, and when you charge, right? And when you start charging, you don't stop until you hit a wall. So everything in between is like bowling pins. Like, if there's Marines, there's die instantly. So what happens is, if you're smart and you're a Marine, you're gonna split up. You're gonna actually the Crushers, you want to get away from him so he'll run between you. But if you're working as a good team as a Xenomorph, you'll wait for the Crusher to go through that, and when the Marines break apart, you then pick them off. And it's really kind of a fun strategy to see that happen. So we, watching the game earlier, our guys are getting really good at that kind of that teamwork and of getting the Marines by themselves, or totally jumping over and knocking them off ledges. And there's lots of team play in both the Marines and the Xenos. They don't necessarily got to see in other Aliens multiplayer type games.
Well, you definitely haven't. I mean, there was Alien versus Predator, but compared to this, it pales in every department. And you brought up, the Crusher and all these different classes of such that you can sort of pick. Because you've got the loadouts for the Marines, so you can change that stuff. But it reminds me a lot of Left 4 Dead on the Alien side, or the Xenos. Like the Crusher, sort of acting in that role, running over to a guy and disabling the team, or a Hunter, jumping on a guy and just completely disabling them, unless, of course, he gets destroyed first.
Right.
Did that inspire you guys at all to sort of make those classes?
Definitely, Left 4 Dead actually has some really good stuff in there that we you know, when you think about like roles in gameplay, like they have some pretty they well-defined roles that, you know, we definitely looked at and we thought, hey, that works or that doesn't work. As among like some other games as well, because there's a lot of, you know, asymmetrical gameplay out there, and some people do it really, really well. And, you know, we're getting into that too, and so we want to do as best job we can. So you always learn from the price testers, and you move forward. You improve upon what they got, and that's really fun.
All right. Well, I would say that as far as the narrative goes, when you just revealed to me that it's actually a canonical sequel, I really didn't know that. I didn't, and that really excites me. How in the world did you get permission to do that? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane, really, because, you know, it's amazing to think like the sequel to the films is a video game, and to be able to work with Fox, 20th Century Fox, to make this canonical, you know, you have to do a lot of, you know, groundwork. You have to meet the right people. You need to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's, because, you know, so many people care about this and are passionate about this franchise that go back, you know, 26 years, and we want to, we talked to Ridley Scott before we started, and you know, we got some inside scoop on what the space jockeys were wearing us, and that was really cool because, you know, we wanted to be making sure that we're consistent with the Xenos and made sure when we make new Xenotypes, it all makes sense. And then, you know, we talked to Sid Mead. Sid Mead's the guy who did the visual design for the Sulaco and the APC and a bunch of other things in the environments in the movie. And he also did stuff like the Light Cycle and Tron, and, you know, Blade Runner. He did the visual design for that. An amazingly influential guy, amazing guy to talk to. And when we started working on this stuff, we said, okay, we're going back on the Sulaco. What do those other parts of the ship look like? Because we got to see the dropship hangar, we got to see some, you know, the lockers and the cool marine stuff. But what does the engine room look like? What is the you know, the hallways, and what does the underbelly of the ship look like? So we talked to Sid, and he did the concept art for us. We worked with him to really make that legitimate. Who else do you go to if you're going to do the visual design for the ship, the Sulaco, other than the guy who created it in the film? Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is as legitimate as it possibly can get. I guess to wrap things up, is there going to be co-op in the actual campaign for the game?
So the co-op in the campaign is 4-player, drop-in, drop-out co-op, and you can play split screen. So if you and your kid brother, if he's old enough, want to play, or, you know, whoever, you totally do it right next to each other, and that's you know, for a scary game, having your someone with you to be part of your squad, it's so fun. Yeah.
So, February 2013, it's a ways away, but it's going to look a lot better than what we've seen today too, and it's incredibly polished. Brian, I really, really appreciate it. Can't wait to see more from the game. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.